a drop on the market, and it's just surprising to see how much panic is out there. How much panic is in the market when the market just drops. It's not something that isn't expected. Anyone who watched any of the webinars over the last couple of months, we're expecting a pretty big drop. We're expecting to come down to those levels. It's what we were trying to do is trying to time it. Now, as a rule, I was hoping that it would happen after earnings season, so then we could close all the smaller trades that we had. And look, it happened before earnings season, so I didn't get a chance to close out any of the smaller positions that we were in. But again, with most of my positions, I'm happy to sit through it. And just to give you a little understanding is that there is building works going on next door. So if you hear a jackhammer or a vibrator or something like that, I do apologize. There is absolutely nothing I can do about it. There can go on the wall next door. Now, so just to give you a sort of a quote there from Bloomberg. Okay, now again, we don't know how true or how untrue it is. In a spasm of panic selling early Monday, retail investors offloaded a net £1.36 billion worth of stocks by noon. And this was according to JP Morgan. And then the diehard traders, they're still holding on to 12 billion of equities. And then what happened is buying started happening in late afternoon of the day for people looking to pick up some sort of sales on the stock. And that was a quote from the likes of JP Morgan. Now, I don't know whether that is truth or whether that is lies, but it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Makes a lot of sense that once we have a drop of 2 or 3% in the market, that people get into this panic of selling, don't they? Now, onto another topic. So I'll come back to that now very shortly. So anyone who is on YouTube or anyone who is on any of my channels not watching this live, press follow, like, share. If you want to jump in on any of my actual webinars, let me know. Just reach out. It's Henry or contact at henry-ward.co.uk. And this is a trade that we actually talked about on Wednesday. Okay, so we talked about this on Wednesday. So let's zoom in here and have a look at it. So we're looking at Aussie CAD. So we can see that the overall trend is coming down on Aussie CAD. We have seen that the weekly bounce. But when we're looking into this trend, we are looking at this as cyclicity. So there's phase one, phase two, phase one, phase two, phase one, phase two. And as you will see, there was a trade here, 1, 2, and then this is the third setup on this particular trade. So we're looking to get in there. I'm just going to move those out of the way, so make it easy, so it won't keep highlighting and jumping at us. Okay, so there was 1, 2, 3, and there's the 4 touch, that pin bar there. So I'm going to zoom in so we can actually have a look at it properly. So this is a trade that we sort of looked at. Now, a lot of people say to me, Henry, well, there's a double bottom there, which there is. Absolutely, there's a double bottom there, and we've actually had a little bounce off that already. So hit the double bottom, went up, come back down, and then there's a triple bottom there, isn't there? So it's now hit it 3 times, and off that level, it is now bounced up. Now, in the grand scheme of things, we don't, as a trader, a long-term trader, we don't mind that. That's all the intraday traders taking a few quid out of the market, and now what we're looking for is for it to continue dropping down, and that's what's happened today. Now, why we actually took this is we do a strength currency on every weekend, every Sunday. And for most of you guys, you know what this is. So I do the strength versus weakness. And looking at the market here, we looked at Aussie, which is -3, and we have CAD, which is +2. So we were saying that CAD is the second strongest currency out there, and Aussie is the second weakest. Now, this is done by this here, working out as buy and sell. If this is a buy, it gets a +1. If it's a sell here, it gets a -1, okay, because it's weaker. And that's how that's all worked out. So we were looking at strength versus weakness on this. And also we're looking at the overall trend is going down. So we're looking at this double bottom and we're looking for it to break through. Now we can't guarantee it will, but the idea would be is we would expect the market to continue. We would expect momentum to go down there. And with Aussie's weakness and with CAD's strength, would expect it to break through there. Everything is never perfect. So the entry was on the bottom of this bar, stop loss above it, and we're actually literally at break even right now, the second. And if we go down to the 4 hour, let's have a quick look at it on the 4 hour. And the 4 hour is looking very promising at the moment. So what we have here on the 4 hour is we have a phase 1, phase 2, phase 1. So this high and this high is lower. So it's now making lower highs. All we need now is to make a lower low, and that would be very promising. I expect that to go on. Now you could argue, but Henry, that was a phase 2 there, and it's a higher high. You can argue that, but again, nothing is ever perfect. There's a high, that's a lower one. So we have sellers in the market at the moment, and let's see if that plays out like this. Now, another thing that I have done here, instead of having a 3-to-1 target on this, so the 3-to-1 target is down to there. I don't have that. My target on this is about there. That's my target on this one. So it's about there, the target. And by looking at historical data, I've worked out that there seems to be a floor. Well, actually, it's a tad higher than that there. So bounce, 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 bounce. So we've had a pretty big rejection on the likes of that. So there's where my take profit is on this one, around there. So on that particular trade, we're slightly inside it. So we're risking 0.8%, and is 1.1 is our take profit. So what's that? 1.2 to 1 on that particular trade. Okay, now I put it down here as a 3-to-1, just 3/8 is 24. So I'll just put it down here to keep an eye on, see what I've actually paper trading, see what I've hit it. But my take profit is in there. Now that's a trade, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the market sentiment. We're looking for the setup. We're looking for the overall momentum, strength, and weakness. Now, if this trade's a loser, there's very little else we can do. There's very little else we can do in this. Yes, we could have maybe not traded into this, but we're making a conscious decision now. We're happy to trade to that level. Why? Because the overall market's down. CAD seems to be stronger. Okay, so that's the idea of this. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking for the momentum to continue. So it doesn't matter whether we're trading stocks, FX, crypto, doesn't matter any of them. Okay, it doesn't matter any of them. They're all part of that's the basics of trading. Okay, so that's how this trade was taken and set up. So if you're not on the Wednesday and the Sunday webinars, look, jump in. It's very simple to jump in on them. If you want to jump in on them, here's the henry-wards.co.uk. Jump in on that. I'm already logged in here, so log out. There's the webinars. There's the links. You jump in on them here. As long as you have a free login, you can jump in on them. And then down here, go to trading and then Trading Academy. Click on that. This is what you get on them. You get full access to my course. You get access to 8 webinars a month, or a playback, private chat room, direct access to me. You can cancel any time. You just click start, log in, join. And anyone who wants to jump in, there is a free month. Okay, so click on this here. Click there and type in 1 month with capital letters. Okay, 1 month, capital letters, press apply, and it'll mean it'll go down to 0 for the first month. Now, if you want to cancel, if you want to keep it, you're more than welcome. It's completely up to yourself, but that's the kind of stuff that we go through. Now, as we can see, I'm down 0.437. So we're literally a spread. We're down the spread at the moment at this particular trade. Now, go back to what everyone sort of wants to talk about is the Nasdaq. Am I correct? Everyone wants to talk about the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Dow, or do you guys want to forget about that and talk about something else? Nas. yeah. I wasn't too far wrong, was I? And everyone in the chat, Nas. Okay, cool. So we can see the movement yesterday. Phenomenal. Look, it ended up being a selling day. And then it went up and that ended up being a positive day. How many people here have seen this over and over again? It literally went down to a level where buyers got triggered. And this happens quite regularly in the market. We have there or there. I mean, there's levels there to tell us that that's where we expect buyers to jump back in. Now, I would probably expect this now to come down to a double bottom. I would probably expect the market to come back down into that area. I don't see it jumping today to the upside. I don't see that. I would probably expect that to come back down here again and come back into this area. So we have some sort of a double bottom, we have a level, we have an area that is going to potentially pause here. Okay. And why I say that is literally on this because of the strength of this. So Henry, for example, would you enter short on the NAS or the SV when it starts to drop, when you would go back long? Okay. So we're looking at this here. So we took a short position here. I think this was actually done on one of the Wednesdays, was it? So I think we done this on last Wednesday. I'm sorry, the FX trade was done on Sunday. So I think this was done on Wednesday. We took it on the likes of the 4 hour. But for me, taking the short has to be the setup is there. Look, bounce and then a retest of this trend line here or a retest of this area. So that's where this short came from. Okay, so look, this short didn't expect it to come down that far, but it came down the whole way down to there. Okay, so it was 2% was the stop loss, and it went down 9, so it was 4.5 to 1. Now, I didn't expect it to drop that far. I expected to have some sort of stopping at this level and potentially a little further, but I didn't expect it to drop that far that quick. So could we have taken a short here? Absolutely, of course we could have. Once we have that horizontal there, bounce there, and I'm pretty sure there's another bounce over here. Look, it's a double bottom there, and now look, it's tested from underneath. So could we have taken a short on that one there as well? Yes is the answer. Look, there's another entry there on it. Is it the best trade in the world? Absolutely not. Why? Because we're trading the futures market. We're trading a futures market. We're not trading what the actual market is, the sentiment. So we have that sort of a drop there. So entry above it, stop loss below. And if you took this one, you're in a little bit of profit at the moment. Okay. So would I have put a long at that position? No, absolutely not. No. What I would have done is, and what I did do is wait to see what would happen, because I sort of expected it to hold at one of these two levels here, one of these two levels. And the problem is at that particular point, where does my stop loss go? Where does the stop go? You have to put a decent area, you have to put a decent stop on this. But what we could do now that we have that price action bar. So we're taking this short here. Now, what you could do if you're a long-term trader, what you could do is actually put a buy position on this. So you're now looking at a long position. So you're using this big bar. Now, yes, this is a big bar. And the problem is when we get these market rickshaws, we get huge bars. Okay, so we get huge bars on these. So what we could do is our stop loss below it, our entry there above, and we could now, that's a sell. We're looking for a buy position, long position. So entry there, stop loss here. If you think fundamentally that this is going to be the bottom of it, and you expect the market to continue going, so just say 7%, 3 sevens are 21. So there's where you're expecting the market to go to. There's your take profit on it. Now, is that going to be a long-term trade? Yes, it is. Absolutely, that's going to be a long-term trade, and it's going to take a while. This could take 3 or 4 months. That's if you believe that this is the bottom of it. So we can make money as it's going down. Once it hits this floor, we then have this overall long position there. So it literally comes down to where you think this market is going to drop to. Now, as a general rule, I've talked to you guys before this. We talk about the market having corrections, phase twos, and crashes. So you guys know that a 10% drop is generally classed as a correction. So at the minute, we are 17% down. Okay, 17% down from the high. 20% down is the actual norm for a normal correction. That's the norm for a normal correction. Now the question is that are we having a normal correction or not? And then the last one then is for a market crash is 30%. So that there is a 30% drop. I didn't want that to move, did I? So we're talking on 1167. 1167. It's about there. So do we think that the market will drop as far as that? Or do we think that we're in a position here now where the market should actually turn around? So we've had a 17% drop. Will we hit the 30%, which is classed as a crash? Maybe even a recession. And the question is now is that have you got some spare cash sitting around now that the market has corrected itself, it has dropped? Have you now got some spare cash left available that we can jump into these trades? Bubbles, of course, there's a possibility. It may even come back to here. Look, this looks like a pretty decent level here. Through this here, this looks like a pretty decent level. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces there. That to me seems to be the strongest level across here at the moment, is that 1239 level. That to me would be the next area where you'd see massive amounts of money, in my opinion. At the 30% mark, not so much. There is at the 1239. That'd be where I would be looking to potentially start expecting the market to turn around, to have a massive swing. But just to go through that again, that's what happened yesterday. You had a big sell-off in the likes of retail traders, and you had speculative traders, then saw this big drop and started driving the market back up again. So could we just put a short just below that there? The problem with putting is that a real level at the minute? Not really. It's not a real level because there's nothing really through this area. So for me, the level is there. Okay, so that's the level. And if we're looking to short the market, 4 hour, if you're looking to short it, move it out of the way. If you're looking to short it, in my opinion, you've missed the boat. You missed the boat. It went back up, hit its head off that resistance, stop loss entry. Now, you could put your stop loss there and your entry there, but again, is it going to bounce up this double bottom or is it going to continue smashing through it? You then have to make a decision like we did with Aussie CAD. Are we expecting it to smash this floor? So just say we amended that trade. Okay, so just say we got into that live right there and our stop loss was here. So that's 2.7. Okay, so there's 2.7. So literally our take profit has to be right on that floor. So that's a 1-to-1 trade. So you're risking just say 100 quid to make 100 quid. Is that a trade that you guys would take? Or do you expect a bounce here? Or do you expect it to smash through? So forget about would you take this trade? What's the two scenarios? Do you think it will smash through, or do you think it'll bounce there again and make a higher high here? Okay, smash through or bounce and make a higher high. They're the two scenarios we're looking at. Do we think it'll smash through or make a higher high up here? Because if it doesn't make a higher high and then eventually goes down, this was a good trade. But it has to make a higher high for us to hit our stop loss here. So which of the two do you expect to make a higher high or smash through the floor, in your opinion? What is the general consensus? So 2 out of 2 said lower. Okay. 2 out of 2 said lower. Anyone else got any thoughts on it? 3 out of 3 lower. Yeah, but Shane, just because it's still dropping today doesn't mean that it's going to drop today. Once the market opens at 2:30, all of a sudden we could have a shitload of buyers and it end up here. Okay, so the general consensus is most people expect it to go lower. One person said expect to go higher. Someone said go lower till the Fed meeting. Okay. Yep, the selling power seems to be stronger at the moment. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But again, you wouldn't have expected to see this big green bar yesterday, would you? No one would have expected to see that. So the 6 o'clock bar, look, we're finished. So to be fair, yes, the big boys are announcing earnings as well at the minute. So we could get a jump up. But again, the overall momentum is down. So theoretically, we would probably expect it to break this. If we're as traders, we are people who speculate. We are people who make decisions. We are people who get off the fence. So we'd probably expect that to break this low. Yes, that is one of the things that we'd probably expect to happen. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Now the question is that trade now valid then? Is that trade valid? We are halfway down the phase 1. So there's the phase 1, phase 2, phase 1. Okay. You have a 1-to-1 take profit before it hits his low. Is that trade a valid short term? In you guys' opinion, yes or no? because that's theoretically what we're trying to do is we're looking at the market, assessing it, and then if we can assess the market correctly, make some money off it. So that's the big thing that we're trying to do. Is that a short looking at that? What's the consensus across the board here, in your opinion? Tyson says he'd expected to, well, he'd want to see it retesting 1400 before he'd be happy for it to go up. I'd wait. If he can make 1%, then Sam says, why not? Okay, well, there's definitely a 1-to-1 there. And if it smashes that floor, then there's much more than a 1-to-1. Carol says we are late. Carol, I agree with you. My opinion is that we're late. That trade should have been taken 12 hours ago. So in my opinion, yes, we're a little late. But there is still a trade there. If you are someone who expects this market to break that floor, then yes, there's a trade there. So for me, the ideal entry on that would have been there. Your stop loss would be much lower, which is there, same spot as we had the other one. And then you can have your take profit in the very same place. But the difference is that's 1.7, and now this is 3.6. So you have a 2-to-1 there, which means you can start trailing your stop loss. You can start part closing. You can manage your trade a little bit better. So for me, that's where the level should have been, off that blue line there. And then lastly, for the guys who were looking for this long, who think that that's going to turn around, there's your entry long. Your stop loss is below here. And it means then you're waiting to see what's going to happen today in today's market when it opens. So we have short positions and we have long positions. Now, theoretically, you can win both of them. You come down here, double bottoms here, hit your take profit, turns around and starts going up. So theoretically, we can have wins on both. Theoretically, we can have losses on both. You could go up, you have a loss, triggered in, and then drops down again, and then you're triggered out again, which means we've lost both trades. So again, you have the three outcomes there, wins and losses on both of them. But probability for me is it will probably go lower here. It looks like it has more momentum to the downside. And if we look at the S&P, have a look at the levels here. So we had a short here in the S&P. If you kept that short open, look at the reward on that. 1%, 10.2. I'm assuming no one still has that original trade there opened. No one has that trade still open, have they? Alistair said the Nasdaq pre-market is down 1%. So I'm assuming no one has that original one opened. So 10-to-1. If anyone did, well done. If you still had that opened. This one here, if this one opens, again, you have a really good winner on this one. This was 1.2%. This one went down to 7.2. So that's over 6-to-1. Really, really good trade on that one as well. Well done on both of those trades, anyone that took them. Again, we had a pullback here on this one. And I don't see any sort of level for this to be taking a short. So drop down to the 4-hour. We have this one here. But again, it's not as clean as the the Nasdaq one, the bar finished above it, and then this bar finished below it. So it's not as clean, but there still was a trade there. Stop loss above it, entry there if you're still expecting this to drop down. So more or less identical to the Nasdaq. And then the Dow. Again, the Dow had a really good level here, retested. Anyone that took that, well done on the Dow. So 0.9% went down to, so that's 6-1. Anyone that took that one, well done. Could we've taken that as a short again on this bar today? There's nothing massively jumping out at me there. Let's drop down to the 4, have a quick look. I will pop in a little horizontal there just to check it. We have a couple of touches there, but nothing major. 1, 2, 3 there. But again, it wouldn't be massively jumping out at me, that one. So for me, the Nasdaq was the best. Then we had the S&P, and then we had the likes of this one. So is there still a trade there? For me, again, no. This one's a little bit late. We've sort of missed the boat. But again, this one's closer. This one's closer to being correct than the other two. Remember, we're using the bottom of that bar. So there's the last bar. Our stop loss goes there. So that is 1.2. And down to the low here is 2.6. So 1.5 to 1 coming down there. Which is, this one is probably the closest to the other two being correct. But the problem is that we don't have a good level on this one. Yes, the entry is more or less correct, but we don't have a level. So if you were going to take a trade, so if we were looking to take a trade, would we be looking to take the Dow, the S&P, or the Nasdaq short? Which of the three would we be looking at if we were looking to take them short? So Nas. So everyone seems to be on the Nas. So for me, if we're looking to short this, the most important thing for me is the entry. Okay, because we expect the market to drop, don't we? We expect the market to drop. So the most important thing here for me is the entry. So if I'm taking this at the moment, for me, it is the Dow over the S&P. Why? Because it's there on the entry. If we're taking, now this is very speculative. Doesn't 100% meet the rules. So if I was taking this, I'd be looking to take sort of the Dow rather than the S&P and the Nas. Why? Because there's not enough room for us to get in and get out as a 1-to-1. Whereas this one, there is 1.2. Where's 1.2? 1.27. So there's the 1-to-1. So for me, this one, yes, this doesn't have the horizontal level, but again, they're all pretty similar, aren't they? So if the Nasdaq's going to drop and the S&P is going to drop, so is the Dow. Okay, so that would be the one that we're sort of looking at. We have a quick look at the European markets there. German. Okay, so the German come back and hit that floor. Anyone had this original trade? It's still available. It still hasn't been stopped out yet. But we would probably expect tomorrow to be stopped out. Look at the rejection on that level. I'm assuming no one had a cheeky buy on that level on the German. I'm assuming no one had a buy at that. Now the idea would be is this one is much easier to put a buy in here. So you put your entry above it, and then your stop loss would go below that level there. Okay, so that would be the idea. Entry above there, limit order below there, and you can pretty much work out whether it was something that is worth it or not. Okay. Limit order, and by the time it goes up to there, if we put that trade on, a buy position, a long position, so the entry be there just above it, smidgen above it, and your stop loss would be above there. And that's where the limit order would go. And if we just put it there how it went, so that was risking 1.27 and I went up 2%. Now, when you have the likes of these limit orders and stuff like this, it's a quick in and out. Okay, we have the market structure is down here, so you'd be quickly in and out of the market at this particular point. You wouldn't be looking for 3, 4, 5 to 1 wins. You're looking for a quick in, quick out, and out of the market. You can trail your stop loss, you can move your stop loss up, things like par close your position, move your stop loss to break even, which means then that once it bounces, if it starts to come back in an overall direction, you can't lose. But that there was a limit order. If anyone took it, well done. In my opinion, if you still have that limit order open, I would be looking to close it and banking whatever profit is in that at the minute. So you probably have probably 0.5% at the minute if you would open right now. So I would be looking to close it. French CAC. We are looking for the French CAC to come down to this level here. Wanted to come down to this one, but if we look at that bar, it literally smashed through it. Smashed through that floor. Look at the size of the bar yesterday, just smashed through it. So it's not something we're interested in a minute. Let it come down to this purple line and then potentially UK 100. So anyone that had this original trade opened, it went up and hit it 3-1. So well done. Good trade. And now look, it's come the whole way back down. So for me, it has to come back down to this purple line here. If it comes back down to that purple line, then we can potentially have a look at it. But at the moment, leave it alone, let it slowly come back down, and then we'll assess when it comes back down to that area. China. No coincidence, the Chinese had a little double top and then dropped like a stone. But again, we're not looking at it till it hits this level. Till it hits this level, that's where we're potentially looking at it. So is there anything in particular you guys want me to look at now? Have a quick look at oil. So as you're typing in, we'll have a quick look at oil. So we talked about potential oil continuing to run. There was a potential trade there on this one. And let's see, would you have been triggered in and triggered out, or would you have not been triggered in yet on that particular trade? Let's have a quick look. 4 hour, the 4 hour. Yes, on this particular trade, you would have been triggered in here, almost triggered out. Went up again, you're in profit, then stopped out. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of sideways movement on the likes of oil at the moment. let's see what happens over the coming days. You had a big doji bar yesterday. Today's bar so far has been an inside bar, which is quite promising. And it could probably shake out all the sellers out of here. So we've had a low test bar, we've had a doji, and then an inside bar. So if that market finishes like this, it's like it's waiting on something. It's like it's waiting on something. So if it's waiting on something, would expect the buyers to jump in at this particular point. We wouldn't expect the sellers, because if the sellers were dominating this market, it would have dropped by now, in my opinion. So I would expect that to pop up to the upside. Tyson, do you still have your short open on this? And do you still have your long open on this? Do you still have both opened, or did you close any of them? Or you still have both? Okay, cool. Make sure the short position in this particular one, I would be looking to take some profit out of the short position, because this is not promising for more short sellers. It looks like the indecision there is, and you'd expect buyers then to just take over again. But make sure there's no OPEC meeting or anything about CAD or oil related coming up in the news in the next week. But yeah, this is promising for buyers again. Natural gas. Yeah, I think the war is the main thing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But if war happens, you'd expect oil to go through the roof, wouldn't you? Because it means then that there'd be a shortage of oil, because it wouldn't be getting exported anymore. Okay, it'd be something that would be targeted, wouldn't it, by either side? Okay, so everyone wants to see Bitcoin. BTC. So there was some negative news that came out on Bitcoin over the last couple of days. Does anyone know what quite negative came out on, or quite, I wouldn't say it was bad news for the likes of Bitcoin? Russian mining, yes. So Russia are looking like they're going to ban the mining. Why? Because they're looking to do the same as China. They're looking to release their own cryptocurrency, which means then that any other cryptocurrency then is banned. Okay, so that's what they're looking to do, which means then that Bitcoin is after taking a bit of a so Bitcoin is after taking a little bit of a pop to the downside. So what's the likelihood of it hitting the 30K mark now with another little bit of bad news? Quite high. We have a little trend line. Would expect it to drop down. Yeah, but again, it's something similar to likes of the Nasdaq, the S&P. Once it gets down to that 28,800 level, I'd expect buyers to kick in again. But it depends on how much. Buyers at what point. Steve says 24K. Look, if it breaks that 30K or the 28,800, I'd expect it to come back down to the 20,050 or 20,500. I'd expect it to come back down to that level. But again, let's see. It's working out where is the best areas to buy it. And I have an order at that level, 30,700, and I have an order at 21,000. So I have orders at both of those. So I am looking to buy if it continues dropping at these levels. Do I expect it to jump back up? Do I expect it to go back to the 68,000? Yeah, eventually. It may happen that we have to hold on to it like 2 years, like we did in 2018. Again, it is what it is. You just continually buy at lower rates, and that's why I've always taught people to put 1% of their account. Okay, that's the beauty of it, is 1% of your account. Look, I have how many positions on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions, and I'm only down. I'm down on most of them, but I'm only down 71 quid. I'm only down 14%. Even though I have 5 different positions, but they're all at rates. They're all at different levels. If it comes back down to here, I'll jump in again. Comes back down to here, I'll jump in again. And the idea is to get them at good, so dollar cost averaging in at different rates, at these key levels, and not bothering about what's going in. You're taking the emotion out of it. You're taking the emotion out of it, and that's what we're looking to do. Something that I got triggered into the other day was, yes, you guessed it, finally into ADA at the level I wanted. Finally. So we talked about this last Wednesday. We talked about this here. And you guys, well, some of you guys expected this to continue going up. I told you I didn't expect it to go up. I expected it to drop. Did anyone short the market there? I understand that you can't short it on eToro. Did anyone take that short? Did anyone make some money as we expected, as a double top to come back down? And if the answer is no, then why not? Why not? Okay, really good opportunity there to short the market. And it did exactly what we expected. So do we think ADA is going to hold at this level, or do we think it's going to drop? What's the thoughts? All the talk on YouTube were expecting big rises. Well, okay then. That's awkward. Yeah, look, I expected to break this level. I don't see, when we're trading, we're talking about market sentiment. So when we're talking about trading, we're talking about market sentiment, and the sentiment here is down. Doesn't matter what crypto it is, the sentiment is down. Okay, so unless you have got hundreds of millions of pounds to drive the market up at some particular point, the majority of money is down. Doesn't matter what influencers on YouTube are talking about. Remember, because to give you an understanding is that there's a guy that I listen to, and I've listened to a lot of shit on YouTube. So there's a guy I listen to, and he makes about 2 million a year from YouTube. Why? And he gets endorsement, he gets all that sort of stuff. And what happens is he gets paid to promote someone. The same as if you ever heard of a lady called Mama Furfa. She does a little bit on secondary incomes. eToro used to pay her $5,000 per YouTube video to promote eToro. So then she would do a video saying, "Oh, how good eToro was." So just be careful when you're following stuff on YouTube. Remember, the underlying thing here is they're getting paid to generally promote something. Okay, once they have hundreds of thousands of followers, they're getting paid to promote something. It's generally not independent. At the minute, I'm just trying to get people onto my subscription service. And come through my business funnel. So everything I do is all independent. It's just trying to push people through that. So just be careful when you're following people on the likes of YouTube. But I'd expect that to drop. I see this as a really strong level, and it is an extremely strong level. But the downward pressure in the market, to me, is more substantial than this level. Okay, that's my opinion. Now, how far it'll drop, who knows? Who absolutely knows? I have no idea. But I would expect it to drop a little bit further. Why? Because the overall market. Why did I get in then? Because it's still a really good level. Because Stephen, when have you ever timed the bottom of anything? When has anyone ever timed the bottom of everything? It's absolutely impossible. It's like what my best trade so far is Tesla. My best trade is Tesla, and the reason I took Tesla was because of this. The reason I took Tesla was, I don't know when you guys remember, Tesla was a sideways market. It was booming, sideways. It was about 18 months of sidewaysness here. Okay, we had two levels. We had a top and we had a bottom. All of a sudden, Tesla shares dropped. Then they had their first decent quarter. Then it dropped. And then it had his first interview about the new armored car, and he smashed the window, and all of a sudden then it spiked up, and then there was some good news, it spiked up to about here. Pandemic dropped, and then I think I got in about here. Even though I saw it come back to this level, I don't think I bought it right on this level. I think I bought it somewhere around here in the 92 or 3. So this little pullback here, that's where I got it. Now, ideally, I would have wanted to have got it there. Literally the break and retest of that level, 76. But I'm pretty sure I got it about 93 or 4, somewhere around there. So it wasn't a perfect level. And I was looking at this. This was up at 200. I was looking at there's 100% profit in this if it gets back to where it was. So my first entry is actually, it's 109. Oh, wow. So I actually was in. I was actually worse off than I expected. So 109. So I didn't even get in where I wanted to get in. So the phase one had already begun, and then it took off. I was looking at it, there's about 100% return on it. So again, even though I took a really good trade on Tesla, there was the area I would have liked to get in, right on that bounce and retest from the pandemic. And then I went. Unfortunately, we're never perfect. Talking about Tesla, is this an area where we should be looking to jump in again? Whoop, move that up. So is that an area where we should be looking to get in the 900 mark again? Or are we expecting that to drop? Not if the likes of the Nasdaq is down. No, not if the likes of Nasdaq is down. Where crypto doesn't have an overall indicator like that, whereas the likes of these do. We do expect it to drop a little bit further. Down to what level, I have no idea, but it'd be worth having a level at the 556. Okay, but guys, jackhammer started next hour, so I'm going to call it quits there. Have a lovely day, and I will speak to you all next Tuesday. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.